Hi, and welcome to our show. My name is Patricia Stepler, and this is your Inside Power, where we work to help you learn to live from the inside out so you can make your dreams into realities. Today, I'd like to start with this quote because it will be really helpful with the special guest I have here today. It says, after making a true decision, especially the tough ones, we usually feel a tremendous burden has been lifted from our shoulders, and that's by Dr. Carol and Hildebrand. So we're going to be talking about decisions with Phyllis today. And Phyllis, thank you and welcome to our show.
Thank you.
So Phyllis is an expert in helping us to control our expenses and our debts that we have so that we can free ourselves from having all those bills which are gaining interest constantly. And so Phyllis, tell me, how did you get started in this?
Well, the company I partnered with at the time, we were doing natural health. And so that really became a passion, helping, people with their health. And then they introduced our debt program. And at first I was like, I'm not a money person. No way. Then they finally got me to look at it. And I said, well, this is like, it was just like nothing else out there. And even my own story, I realized, you know what? Everybody has mortgages, credit cards, student loan debt, whatever, and this just truly helps you. And so it became, again, that passion where I put the two together now.
Okay. So what do you do when somebody comes to you and they say, I'm really struggling here. I don't know what to do. I owe maybe student loans. I owe a mortgage. I have a car loan. I have credit cards and I can't pay it all. And I don't know what to do.
So what I do is I sit down, if they live near me, we sit down in person or on Zoom, and I talk to them for a while about, what is their debt? Not like to the penny, but just, what do you have? What's going on in your life? Where you want to go, maybe 2 to 5 years from now. And then if they want to go forward, I put them on the first meeting with my partner, Jessica. And we talk to them some more because we want them to get to know us and get that warm fuzzy, since we're going to ask you to turn over your personal information, excuse me. And so then the second meeting, you come to the table with all of your debt. And we always tell you it has to be to the penny. And debt can be mortgage, credit cards, car loans, student loan debt, anything that you currently are paying on. And it has to be to the penny. The interest rate has to be to the decimal point, because what we do is we recreate that inside the software system. But we also do a deep dive into your expenses. Some people say, you know what? I live paycheck to paycheck. Okay, let's do all your expenses. And then they realize, well, I didn't realize I was paying on that. Years ago, you had a relationship with that dollar bill. You got that 20 and you said, I don't want to break that 20. I'm going to spend it. Well, now you just swipe. And so people have lost that relationship with their money. So they don't sometimes know where actually all their money goes. And they realize I really don't live paycheck to paycheck. So then the third meeting, you come back to the table and then we show you what the software system can do for you. My software will give you an exact month, day, and year that you're going to be out of debt. And we warranty that date. And it doesn't require any extra money. It works with the money you have. We figure out what's your discretionary income, what's the sweet spot. And then, you work the program. It comes with a wonderful support team. So if you don't understand something, you have them. My Terabyte comes with me for about a year because I want to make sure that you're working it, that you're successful. It also deals with, life really truly happens. Your car breaks down, you have to go get another car. But it helps you make those financial decisions correctly. We had one lady, she wanted to buy an RV for $300,000, and we're like, okay, why don't you put that into the system? Let's see what the software says. And the software went, no, but you can afford $150,000. Well, she ended up buying an RV for $110,000. But she said without the software, she would have gone and bought the $300,000 RV, and then she would have been struggling or having to sell it or lose it to foreclosure or whatever. So it not only helps you with paying down your debt, but it also helps you with being able to budget and then make those financial decisions correctly. Mm-hmm. But the program will help you get out of debt in a third to a half of the time. You have a 30-year mortgage. you pay a lot of money. People don't realize that at the end of that 30 years, if you bought a $300,000 home, at the end of that 30 years, you probably paid $450,000, $480,000 for it in interest. The program will show you how you pay it off in 7 to 9 years. All that money goes into your pocket, and not the bank's pocket. You can use that money to go buy another house because now you have all that equity in your home. Buy that second home, invest it, whatever you want to do with it. That money is yours now. You didn't pay it all out to the bank.
Okay, so let's say somebody comes to you and you just said about changing the mortgage. So do you help them to refinance their loans, or does it just show them how to make like some extra payments?
So the way it works is it has algorithms inside it. Okay, so the two men who developed it used to be in the mortgage industry. And so they got tired of putting people in debt. So they reverse engineered the algorithms to get people out of debt. So the banks and your lending institutions know the sweet spot of what day you should make a payment on and the amount you should make it, but they're not going to tell you that. Okay. So a lot of people say, well, you know what? I make an extra payment. Okay. But are you making it at the right time? And are you making it at the right amount of money? So the system takes, like, let's say your discretionary income is $100 a month. Okay. So the computer takes a 3-month snapshot. And that first month, it's going to say, you know what? I might not need the $100, put it in savings. And then the second month, it's saying, I still don't want it yet, put it in savings. The third month is going to come along and say, that $200 you have, I want you to take $101.05. And on this day, you're going to pay that exact amount of money to the penny on this bill. And you'll see where you canceled out maybe $150, $200 in interest.
Wow.
So you make your payments like normal. We say you got to make your payments on the day that you're, supposed to with your lending, but only make the minimum. Do not pay extra. And the software system, like I said, with the algorithms, it knows the sweet spot of the exact month or the exact day and the exact amount. So a quick story, we had a farmer, farmers have a lot of debt, and he had the program. And so he had a loan for $30,000. And sometimes it's an emotional loan that you have, you just want it paid off. So he sold a piece of equipment for that amount of money. He said, I'm not going to tell the software what I did. I just pay it off. So when we told us, we said, well, let's recreate it and let's just see what would the software tell you. So he saved $9,000 in interest doing that. But the software would have had him paying off 3 bills, not one. And he would have saved $15,000 in interest, not $9,000. You cannot beat the math.
Wow.
It's all math based. And you can't meet you can't do it. You can't beat the math. So we always tell everybody, put it in the software, see what the software tells you,
That's amazing.
It's phenomenal. When I took a look at it, I didn't think I had enough debt because my husband and I only had a mortgage. And we had refinanced our house a few years ago because he got very ill. And so I had just walked away from a corporate job, how that goes. And so they had me take a look at it and I said, okay, fine. And so when I did, though, I had 25 years left on our mortgage. My mortgage is going to be paid for in 7 years, and I'm saving $49,000 in interest. We can look at retirement now, not faced with, hey, making those mortgage payments. So even if you think I don't have enough debt, we'll still do a free analysis. Let us see, what does the computer show you? You might not, but you don't know until you do the free analysis and see what the computer says about all that. And you own it. It is web-based. Okay. So no matter where you are in the world, as long as you have Wi-Fi, your phone, your laptop, your PC, you can sign on and look at, your business or your software, and you own it for life. It's a one-time fee. You own it for life, and it can reset over and over if life happens for you. We normally don't tell the amount of what it costs, though, until you do the free analysis, because everybody has to see what is the value of it.
Right. Right.
But for me, not just with our mortgage, but it also helped me with budgeting. I never paid bills. My husband always did that. And so I even went as far as I never got the mail. And he said, you drive right by the mailbox, but I don't pay the bills. I said, he who pays the bills gets the mail, not me. And so when he got sick, all of a sudden I'm thrust into this. And I didn't have a clue about budgeting. And I said, why don't I have money left over every month? I should have money left over every month. But you go to the grocery store for that 1 gallon of milk, but you walk out with $50 worth of groceries. So when I started doing this and I looked at the budget part, I'm like, oh my gosh, it keeps me on track. And it's not cookie cutter. It's not one size fits all. On your expenses, some people say, oh, I spend $3,000 a month and that includes groceries, cell phones, whatever. I want to see where every penny's going. So mine are itemized. $500 for groceries. This is my cell phone. I have a line for everything because I want to know where every single penny goes. If I go to the store now and I spend that $5 on that gallon of milk, I come home and go, okay, I now have $495 left in groceries. So it's not cookie cutter. It is tailor-made to whatever somebody wants and how they want it set up.
Okay, so if somebody doesn't want to be that exact, they wouldn't have to.
Yep.
To do that.
We have a lot of people, they just want one line item. Nope, I know this is what I spend. I want the one line item. Some people are good with that, but some people realize a couple of months into it going, I'm spending more money. And that's when they itemize a little bit and a little bit more until it works for them, and you can change it all the time. You can also add a mortgage to it. If you want to buy a second home, say somewhere, well, find out how much is that home? What's the interest rate? What's your payment going to be? Put it into the system before you go buy it. You put it in there, it recalculates your get out of date debt. So you know what you're looking at. You're making good financial decisions by having this program be able to tell you now how much longer it's going to extend your debt. You can also, if $100 is your discretionary, but say you got a $500 bonus, but you don't really need to use that bonus, you tell the software, oh, I have an extra $500 you can work with. So if we're telling you, you might be out of debt in 9.1 years, but we had one gentleman, he got bonuses, but he didn't include it on his income because he said, I never knew when or how much. So he figured it out. So every time he got a bonus, he told the software, you can have this money and play with it. Well, he was still going to be out of debt, a 30-year mortgage, $20,000 in credit card, and 2 car loans. We had him out of debt in 7 years. But because he kept adding those bonuses to it, he got it down to where he's out of debt now in 5 years. And he had just refinanced his home at 30 years. And now he'll be out of debt in 5 years. What does that mean to him? He said, for me, he goes, that's my retirement date and my wife, and they're going to sell their home. Now he said we can actually move to North Carolina and have the money to retire and live in North Carolina. He said, but I'll put that new house in the system when I get it, because it just helps you all the time for the rest of your life.
I remember when my son was in college, he was taking a business degree. And one of the things that frustrated him as he was in business was the very fact that, schools don't teach people. First, they don't teach you how to earn money. They just tell you how to get a job. But they also don't teach you how to manage money. He said even the simplest thing is to writing a check. He had no clue how to write a check. And of course, in today's world, so much of it, like you said, is swiped and we don't see it. And I know even my granddaughter sometimes would say things like, if we'd say, well, I don't have enough money, she'd say, well, just use that card. She didn't realize that card was tied to anything else. Well, that generation, that they're growing up that way. They have no clue.
No clue. So when you go to college, I'm sorry, when you
go ahead,
you go to college as an 18-year-old and you have no clue about finances, and you sit down and they say it's going to cost this much money, and you say, oh, I don't have that kind of money. Okay, well, here, let me take you over to the finance department. And the finance department goes, okay, well, sign here, sign here, sign here. But you don't understand what you're signing, but you still do it. You graduate 4 years later and you've got $60, $80, $100,000 in credit card debt or in student loan debt. And sometimes on top of that credit card debt, mom and dad said, oh, okay, well, here's a credit card for you to, if you need whatever. Well, at 18, you need everything. And so now you've got credit card debt, plus you have that student loan debt. Well, today, as of when I looked at it 3 days ago, student loan debt was at $1.8 trillion and growing. How do you pay that off? This one lady, 25 years old, her financial institution told her her student loan debt is going to take her 100 years to pay it off. She said, I'm going to live to be 125 years old. I don't think so, but that's how they're doing it. Now that you got, sometimes loans are forgiven, depending on who your financial institution is, If they forgave, say, $30,000, that gets added onto your taxes at the end of the year because the IRS says that's income.
Right, right.
Now all of a sudden you're like, huh? You go to school to be a teacher. We need teachers, but the amount of money you're going to owe in a student loan debt is far more than what your first probably 5 years worth of salary are. How do you pay that off? And that's why I feel like I'm so blessed every day that I can help people both with the health and help them with their debt. You know, to be able to get that in line to show there is an end to the means here. You can retire, you can pay off the student loan debt, you can pay off that credit card debt. Sometimes a credit card, if you owe $5,000, again, how they structured the interest and you're making a minimum payment because that's all you can afford, it's going to take you 30 years to pay off that $5,000. That's a long time to pay on $5,000.
Yes, and how much have you paid on that 5,000? You probably 15, you know.
I know, right?
Yeah.
They make their money in the interest.
Yes, they do. Yes. I don't know why the institutions are allowed to charge that kind of interest rate. That's just unbelievable that's even the government even allows that.
We get credit cards in the mail all the time. We don't have credit cards, thank goodness, but you know, you're always getting them, you know, oh, your credit allows you. And I normally just throw them away. And one day I said, well, let me look it up and open it and see what are they telling me my interest rate is going to be. It was 31.9%. I'm going, huh? I said, I don't think so. Garbage. You know, I'm like, there's no way. You can't do that. But today's economy, sometimes you have no choice. The rule of thumb many years ago for a credit card was if you can't see it at the end of 30 days, don't charge. So if you put your groceries on your credit card, well, that's something you can't see, or gas or whatever. But people are having to do that today because of the economy. A lot of people now are taking out home equity line of credits to try to pay. Well, what they don't realize is that interest rate that you're paying is not like a locked in interest rate. If you start out, say, at 5% interest, and then now all of a sudden the interest rate is 8%, well, guess what? Your home equity line of credit is now 8%. You're never going to pay it off, you know? I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Allergy season. So, you know, a lot of people don't, when they go get that HELOC, they don't ask the question. So people are, and then when people find out that, well, the bank lied to me, well, not exactly. You didn't ask. Well, how was I supposed to know to ask? You know, because it's not taught.
Right.
You need it taught in high school, and they need it to be more than one class. You know, and you've got to start with the young kids in order to get them to understand it when life happens. You know, otherwise they're going to always be in debt because they don't understand how anything works.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I don't know what the answer is there, except, you know, why isn't it taught? Just,
I know. I talked to my partner one time, like, can't we go into some of these colleges? And she's like, they won't let us in.
they want to keep you in the dark, keep you strapped.
Right. That's right. But then it's like, can I not get a list of kids that are getting ready to graduate? So can I go, hey, let me talk to you. She's like, she goes, believe me, I have tried all different ways to try to get into these colleges, you know, to be able to help these kids and everything. But she said, they don't want you. They won't let you in, you know?
Yeah.
And it's sad because, like I said, they don't understand. Their parents don't understand even sometimes when they're telling their kids, okay, well, do what the finance company tells you. Okay, but now, hello, parent, your child is strapped with this. Are you going to help them? Maybe you can't help them. You never know. My son, when he went to college back in, I don't know, 2014, he graduated. He went as a nurse 4 years, but he said, I wasn't going to be strapped with that credit, you know, all that debt. And he said it was almost like a second job because he would search the computer every day for scholarships and, you know, anything that he could find, you know, and he ended up graduating with less than $20,000. But he said it was like a second job. And a lot of people don't want to put that time and effort into it, you know, to find that money.
So does your software do anything on the other side about investing? Is there any type of investment?
No, it just
all in debt management.
Works with your debt and your budget.
Okay.
But we do tell you, we have, my partner, I both are a wealth of sources for referrals.
Mhm.
I'm so sorry. We have a lot of referral basis. So sometimes if you're looking for something, her and I can refer you to somebody,
Okay.
to be able to help you out. If you are like upside down, the computer can't, like if you're $1,000, $2,000 short every month paying, the computer can't work with that.
Mhm.
But we don't say, oh, well, and see you later. She again has that, because she's been in this industry for 20 plus years. So she's
Mhm.
built up all these people she knows, and she can direct you to the right place to help you get right side back up. Then when you do, then you come back to us, and then we help you with the debt. And she said, you have to be careful of who you go to for your help, and what are they charging, and what are they going to do. I had a lady call me, and she said, she went to one of those credit repair places. She had $18,000 in credit card debt. And they told her, oh, well, we can help you where you can only have to pay half of it. She goes, great. Oh, but it's going to cost $4,000 for you to work with us. Well, wait a minute. I'm right back up to what I owed on the credit card debt. And oh, by the way, you can't make your credit card payments for 4 months. Why not? You got to show them that you're in dire straits. And she goes, so you just ruined my credit rating. That's why you have to be very careful who you go to get that help, to make sure it's not going to ruin your credit rating for the next 7, 10, 15 years,
Yeah. And then you also, when you get that relief, it's taxable.
Yes.
And that there's something a lot of people don't realize, that forgiveness is seen as a gift that is taxable.
I have my eyes open long time ago. My brother had stage 4 colon cancer, and he couldn't keep a job. And so he was going to lose his home. So when but thank goodness, well, I don't know, thank goodness, but back then homes were like 40, 50, 60,000. So when he lost his home, he still owed 42,000. He said, they're going to add that to my taxes. I said, what? He said, they're going to add it to my taxes. I'm like, let me get this straight. You couldn't afford to make the payments on your home where you lost it, but they're going to add it to your taxes. He goes, yeah, go figure.
I never heard of that one.
Yeah, because it's income. It got wiped out through the foreclosure, so the IRS considers that income.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. I'm thinking, and he just looked at me, he goes, I'm not working that much anyway. So I said, you know what? Me and my other brother, we're going to figure this out for you. Because like I said, he was battling stage 4 cancer. But most people don't realize that you still, gets added, the IRS is income, got forgiven. I'm like, well, foreclosure is not exactly forgiven, but okay, but so it's the same thing with the student loan debt. You're going to forgive it. Well, be careful how it's written into your contract. Make sure they're not going to add that as income.
Right.
Same thing if you default on your credit cards, anything like that, the IRS now says that's all income. Right. And so many people don't realize that. And at the end of the year, they're totally shocked because now you got an IRS problem.
Right. And
you weren't taking money out of your paycheck on it.
Yeah, they will get their money.
I know. That's what I tell people. And nothing's free. Somewhere along the line, it will cost you somewhere,
Or cost somebody else, another taxpayer money.
Yes.
That's the other problem. Somebody's paying for it.
It's like that hamster wheel.
Yes.
You never get off the hamster wheel, I know. And I say it all the time. Every day when I wake up, I say, I just can bless somebody's life today by helping them. And the look on their faces when we show them that report where they're instead of 30 something years of in debt, you're going to be out of debt in 7, maybe 9 years, and you're saving $200,000 in interest. To me, that's that priceless. Oh my gosh, I just blessed somebody and helped them.
Right.
That there is that ends to that mean. People can retire, or you can buy the second house or whatever, or go fix your car. I mean, you never know what somebody's facing, and so it's phenomenal what this software system does for people.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the best way for somebody to get a hold of you, and to find out this information?
Well, Well, my last name is Arnstein. So if you go to LinkedIn, Alignable, or Facebook, you can message me on any one of those, or you're more than welcome to email me. And my email address is my first initial P, and it's my last name, ARNSTEIN199
Okay, and that will be in the show notes too of how people can get a hold of you so that they can find out. And so it's just a process of reaching out to you, and then you'll just walk them right through it and show them how the software would work for them. Is that correct?
Yes, everything is confidential. We do not go, oh my gosh, really? You did that? No, we don't do any of that, because everybody has a story.
There's no judgment, right?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
No judgment.
Yeah, because everybody's been in that boat.
Yeah.
Find me somebody who's not in that boat, right? So, it just, even real estate investors, I've been working a lot with real estate investors. You pay off that mortgage of that house you're renting a lot faster. That's profit that you're going to put in your pocket. Don't let the bank have the profit for 30 years. Put that profit in your pocket.
Right.
So many different areas. It also works with businesses. So you can put your personal and your business together in the software. It doesn't say, oh, you got to have another software. No, it can all go together in the software, because a lot of businesses have taken out loans on their equipment, or their brick and mortar. Maybe they own it. They have a lien or a mortgage or whatever. COVID, you took out a loan to try to keep going. So it works with the business and it works with your personal.
Okay. All right. So is there anything else you can share with the audience about how they can, really save money? Any other stories you have that you could share with them?
I worked with a lady who got laid off during COVID. So she said, what do? You live on your credit cards. She lived in an expensive area. So she had mortgage, car payments, credit card debt, a couple of other things. It was going to be 31 years, because all she could afford was minimum payments. 31 years to get out of debt. Our program had her out of debt 9.1 years, and she's saving well over $200,000 in interest. And she was like, oh my gosh, her husband has been working 3 jobs. She was working 2 jobs. Now they can cut back and each just have their 1 job and get their life back, get their time back, and get their family back, because they had little kids.
So is it just a matter of, for her, like finding out where maybe she was wasting money that she didn't need to? Or
part of it was putting the money on her credit cards to try to live, because she had lost her job, got laid off. Until she could find a new job, she's like, you still got to pay bills.
Right.
And so, because they lost a big income when she got laid off. So a lot of that, she said, it took me, she said, over a year, because it was COVID. It wasn't like you go down the street anymore and find a job. So it was over a year that she was putting all that stuff on her credit card debt. And that was probably her biggest debt, was her credit card debt, And so this way, she's like, I'm not stressing. It took all that stress right out of her. But she said the biggest thing for her was we get our time back and not having to work those 2 and 3 jobs.
Right. Especially with your kids.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I just want to relate the quote I shared at the beginning. It says, after making a true decision, especially tough ones, we usually feel a tremendous burden has been lifted from our shoulders. And probably if you reach out to Phyllis, that's exactly when you make a decision that you're going to change what you're doing, it's going to be a burden lifted. So I encourage our audience to go ahead and give her a call and, see what Phyllis can help you do.
Thank you.
It's been a joy having you here. I'm so glad. This is a little different than my normal show, but I think this was an important topic that people need to know. And they need to know that there's help out there if they're really, in trouble with their finances.
Yes.
So I appreciate you coming on and sharing with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.